Imagine a storm brewing quietly in the background of global power struggles. A storm that no one saw coming, yet its roots were always there, hidden beneath the soils of Africa, waiting to erupt. For years, Elon Musk has been seen as the visionary genius who could bend the future, the man who built Tesla, SpaceX, Neuralink, and Starlink. The man who defied governments, shook up industries, and made the impossible possible. But now, for the first time in a long time, Musk is in big trouble, because Africa may have just cracked a code that China desperately wants, and the world is about to change forever. This isn't just about technology. This isn't just about competition. This is about who will control the future: energy, data, mobility, even space. And in this silent war, Africa has become the battlefield. For decades, Africa was seen as the land that others exploited. Its gold, its diamonds, its cobalt, its lithium, its oil, always extracted, never fully owned by Africans themselves. But that narrative is starting to shift, and the shift is terrifying the giants of today's world. Elon Musk, with Tesla's hunger for African minerals to power electric cars, and China, with its relentless drive to secure global dominance in technology, both have their eyes fixed on the same thing: Africa's breakthrough. So what exactly is this code that Africa cracked? Why does it put Elon Musk in danger? And why is China so desperate to steal it? To understand that, we need to rewind, not by years, but by centuries. Africa's story has always been about resources.
Colonial powers ont scarvé the continent for gold, ivory, and diamonds.
In the modern era, cobalt from the Democratic Republic of Congo fuels smartphones, lithium from Zimbabwe powers batteries, rare earths from Tanzania drive the green revolution. But something changed in the last few years, a silent revolution. African scientists, engineers, and innovators are no longer just exporting raw materials. They're creating solutions, homegrown technologies that could upend the balance of power. And this is where Elon Musk enters the picture. His empire, built on electric cars, satellites, and rockets, relies heavily on minerals buried deep in African soil. Tesla's batteries cannot function without cobalt and lithium. SpaceX cannot expand its Starlink internet network in remote regions without ground-based partnerships across Africa. Neuralink's future brain, machine interfaces will need ethical sourcing of minerals that Africa controls. Musk has always known this, and so has China. But here's the twist. A group of African innovators claim to have developed a new method of energy storage, a breakthrough so powerful that it could reduce global dependence on traditional lithium-ion batteries. Imagine a battery that is cheaper, cleaner, lasts longer, and is built using abundant African resources rather than limited Chinese supply chains. If true, this technology could flip the game board entirely. Musk's Tesla empire would be forced to adapt overnight, while China's decades of investment into lithium mining and processing could collapse into dust. That's the code.
That is the breakthrough.
A new battery technology, born in Africa, protected in Africa, and for the first time in modern history, possibly controlled by Africa. But with such discovery comes danger. China's hunger for domination is no secret. The Belt and Road Initiative has already wrapped its fingers around African infrastructure. Billions of dollars have poured into African railways, ports, and energy projects, but all with strings attached. And now, with this breakthrough at stake, China isn't just watching from the sidelines. Rumors swirl of espionage, secret deals, even silent pressure on African governments to surrender control. And what about Musk? He's no stranger to controversy, no stranger to risk. But this time, the challenge isn't coming from regulators or short sellers. It's coming from an entire continent rising with innovation. If Musk loses access to African minerals, if he fails to align with Africa's new tech pioneers, Tesla and SpaceX could find themselves cornered, vulnerable in a way no one expected. The world's future is being written in Africa right now. And Elon Musk, for all his genius, may have underestimated the storm that's forming. The secret to understanding why Africa's breakthrough is so explosive lies in one simple fact: the modern world runs on energy storage. Every smartphone, every electric vehicle, every satellite, every power grid of the future depends on one thing: batteries. The ability to store energy efficiently isn't just a technological advantage, it's a weapon of power. Whoever controls the next generation of batteries controls the next century. For years, the undisputed king of batteries has been the lithium-ion cell. Powerful, reliable, and scaled up by giants like Tesla, CATL, and Panasonic, lithium-ion has become the bloodstream of modern technology. But it has weaknesses. Lithium is expensive. Mining it is destructive. Recycling it is complicated. And most of all, the global supply is dangerously concentrated. Over 70% of the world's cobalt comes from the Democratic Republic of Congo, often mined under horrific conditions. China dominates over 80% of the lithium refining industry, turning raw minerals into the usable components that power cars and phones. Musk knows this. So does every government in the West. Which is why Africa's cracked code, a new way of building energy storage, has sent shockwaves across boardrooms and political war rooms alike. Reports began surfacing in academic circles about a breakthrough being developed in labs scattered across South Africa, Nigeria, and Kenya. Researchers experimenting with organic-based supercapacitors and sodium-ion batteries had achieved a level of efficiency that rivaled, and in some cases surpassed, lithium-ion cells.
The secret?
Abundant African minerals and plant-based materials that are far easier to source than lithium or cobalt. Imagine a future where a battery isn't dependent on a rare, tightly controlled supply chain, but on widely available resources that can be grown, harvested, or mined sustainably across Africa. If this is true, it is a nightmare for China, because their global leverage depends on bottlenecks. By controlling lithium refining and cobalt exports, China forces companies like Tesla into dependency. But a new African alternative cuts the legs out from under Beijing's strategy. Overnight, the trillion-dollar Chinese bet on lithium dominance could weaken. And for Elon Musk, this changes everything. Tesla has invested billions into gigafactories designed for lithium-ion production. Musk's empire depends on this infrastructure scaling globally.
If a supérieure africaine alternative émerger, Tesla face en existentielle question. Adapt or die.
But here's where Musk's trouble deepens. He doesn't control Africa. Starlink may connect villages, and Tesla may scout for cobalt deals, but Africa is no longer the same continent foreign powers once dictated to. A younger, more assertive generation of African leaders and innovators are taking charge. And they are not interested in repeating history. This is the part few people in Silicon Valley or Beijing are ready to admit. Africa is changing the rules. No longer satisfied with being the world's raw material supplier, nations across the continent are demanding ownership of their technologies, their patents, their breakthroughs. They remember the scars of colonialism. They remember the broken promises of globalization. And now, with something as revolutionary as a new energy code, they are prepared to stand their ground. But standing your ground against powers like China is dangerous. Already, whispers circulate of cyber attacks against African research institutions. There are rumors of investment offers that are less about partnership and more about control. Loans with hidden clauses. Contracts written in Beijing boardrooms, designed to tie innovation into China's orbit. This is the game Africa now finds itself in, a silent chess match where every move could shape the future of global energy. And Musk? He's watching, calculating. For all his boldness, Musk knows Tesla cannot survive without Africa. Every Model 3, every Powerwall, every SpaceX satellite depends on materials from African soil. If China swoops in and secures dominance over this new technology, Musk could find himself locked out of the very continent that sustains his empire. For a man who dreams of colonizing Mars, losing Africa may seem like a strange Achilles heel. But that's the reality. The future of Tesla's survival is tied not to California, not to Texas, but to the heart of Africa. What makes this story even more dramatic is the timing. The world is racing toward net zero carbon goals. Governments are banning fossil fuel cars within the next decade. Demand for batteries is expected to increase tenfold by 2035. Whoever owns the superior battery technology at that moment won't just make trillions. They will control the levers of the global economy. Africa's breakthrough could be that lever. Which leads to a haunting question. Will Africa be allowed to control it? Or will history repeat itself, with foreign powers swooping in to extract, manipulate, and dominate? Elon Musk is betting that he can align with African innovators. China is betting that it can outmuscle them. And caught in the middle is an entire continent, rising, defiant, and more powerful than anyone expected. This is why Elon Musk is in big trouble. Because for once, the future isn't being decided in Silicon Valley, or in Beijing, or in Washington. It's being decided in Africa.